Hello and welcome to this first episode out of a number of episodes dedicated to a very interesting topic, the power of thought. My name is Alexander and I'm a coordinator of the programs of the Brahma Kumaris in St. Petersburg, Russia. And we're going to discuss this very interesting topic with a very special speaker, and we are very lucky to have Sister MEERA with us. She is the director of the Brahma Kumaris in Malaysia and a very experienced teacher. So I'm sure that we are going to get a lot of insights into this fascinating topic, the power of thoughts. So Sister MEERA, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
And so today I just want you to start with maybe an introduction to this series of programs. And my first question is that I'm just wondering that in today's world there are so many different powers. We have the power of weapons, we have the power of money, we have the power of science, we have the power of status, position, whatnot. And we see the impact of those powers on today's world. But the power of thought is something very ephemeral, something very subtle. And we are not sure that it really exists even. We know that thoughts exist, but does the power of thought exist, and can it really impact our world? Do you believe in the power of thought?
I do very much believe the power of thoughts because, even though you don't see them with your eyes, but it has influence on everything that we do. In some ways, I would say it's our constant companion. Thoughts are our constant companion. Like, for example, every thought that we have is connected with something you see, something you smell, something you touch. But thoughts itself are not visible. And I feel that, sometimes these thoughts come to you as your friend and sometimes as enemy. So from the feelings at any time you have, you can catch the thoughts.
All right. They may come as my friends and they can come as my enemies as well.
And you can see that, when it comes to you as your friend, you feel very light, you feel very happy, and you feel content in life, relaxed. But when the thought comes to you as your enemies, you feel like a prisoner, locked up in the prison. You want to do something, but you can't do it. So that is when I know it's like an enemy. But they're constant companions. I cannot be separated from them at any time in my life.
But then, if you're saying that the thoughts are coming to me, either as friends or as enemies, but then the question arises that does it mean that the thoughts come to me from somewhere outside?
Thoughts don't come from outside, but my thoughts are activated from inside when I observe things through my eyes, or I smell something through my nose, or I hear something through my ears. those thoughts are activated from within myself. But thought itself is metaphysical. It's not physical.
So the power of thought is in a way different from all the other powers that I mentioned.
Yes, definitely.
Those powers are physical.
Yes, physical.
And the power of thought is metaphysical.
Metaphysical. But the wonder is that even those powers were invented. For example, the power of atomic energy, it was invented by the power of thoughts.
That's
the result of the thoughts is physical, but the thought itself is not physical.
Oh, that's a good thing. I have never thought of that in this way.
Yes.
Actually, we have lots of powers,
yes,
but they spring from the power of thought.
Yes. But it can be constructive or destructive. The same thoughts that comes to me, for some people, it can be constructive, and so for some it can be destructive, because it depends on how you are directing that power of thought to be used.
Can you give some example of that? How they can be constructive or destructive?
Like for example, I look at somebody, instead of I can appreciate them, I can criticize them.
Okay.
So when I begin to use my thoughts not in the right way, say negative way, I will see their weaknesses and then I start to criticize them. But if I use the same thought in the other way, say in a right way, then I see their specialities and I use them in a positive way. So the same thing goes from a lower level to the higher level.
Okay.
Like for example, now we have aeroplanes. So, this aeroplane is invented with the aim of using it for construction. So but now we can see, because the science is going towards the extreme, and because of that, now it is being used for destruction. It is used to kill people, attack people, clear fear, create fear in the hearts of people. But I'm sure there will be a time when it will be used for constructive purpose. Like, before they used to use the aeroplane to carry goods, carry people, but now it is, because it's extreme, so it's being used in a destructive way. That's why they say that everything begins with a thought, within yourself.
So I was just wondering that the aim of these programs of ours is to discover the power of thoughts and to help our viewers to enhance their power of thoughts. But what I find quite often is that our thoughts may be our power, yes, or as you just recently mentioned, they can be our friends, but our thoughts can be our weakness as well.
Yeah.
If I think I'm weak, or if I think I'm uneducated, unexperienced, or, and these thoughts, they drain me of my power, actually. Does it mean that thoughts can be power, but they can also be weak?
Thoughts are inevitable.
We can't stop them.
Yes, you can't stop them. Thinking is optional. This is something we need to underline. So when I am not able to choose the right type of thoughts, then I make myself weak. When I am able to choose the right type of thoughts, I empower myself. So I have a choice to think. This is something we have to remind ourselves. We are not forced to think in a particular way. Thoughts will come, but thinking is my choice. And that's why it is said that you become what you think.
Sometimes we are forced to think in a particular way. We are in a very critical situation, a stressful situation, and it seems that I can't choose my thoughts. They are just imposed on me by the situation.
I think again, in this aspect, I would say that, we all have something called an intellect. We have intellect. We can use our intellect to take such situation as a challenge and make the right judgments. So sometimes maybe we have to go against, because I cannot go against my conscience, but sometimes I have to go against the people's opinion and make choices, because I am responsible for what I think. So if I force myself to think in a particular way, because I'm imposed by some force, then the consequences, they are not going to face. I am the one who has to face the consequences of what I have decided after I thought about it. So if I'm aware of that, so then I will not, take a chance to get myself suppressed. So I will use it as a challenge to choose the right type of thoughts and then act accordingly. Maybe later, the people who are working with me, they will appreciate my courage that I was able to take that bold step, under odd situations. But of course, you need a lot of courage and willpower.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking now, that really you need lots of courage and lots of strength to be able to do it. Is it that you are you were born with that quality, or
maybe it's both.
That?
It's both. Some people, maybe they're born with that willpower, but some of us can develop it on the basis of some kind of understanding the depth of our thoughts and its impact. Because nowadays we are not paying attention to our power of thoughts, because we are drawn towards other powers and we are very impressed by the electronic power and all these modern gadgets. We don't think about the thoughts behind those gadgets. So the more we are able to turn within, and the more we are able to appreciate that power, then we are able to channelize that power of thoughts in a right direction. But today, there's like in psychology, they say that we are not using the power of thoughts fully. They say only 10% of the power of thoughts are being used.
10%.
Only 10%. Hopefully, as we have many conversations in these sessions, people will realize the power of thought and begin to use the rest of the 90% that is being wasted. It's not being tapped properly. So there are many, many methods and techniques that's available in our world today to learn how to tap, how to channelize that 90% of the power of thoughts that is not being used. And I'm sure when we use all 100% of the power of thought, we can create a better self, better person. And then when each one of us become a better person, the world will become a better place. See, even now, when I look at the panoramic view of our world, I can see many wonders, like 7 wonders of the world that is created by the power of thought. And that is also because when my thoughts are concentrated on elements of matter, because whatever you create externally, it comes to you first of all in your mind in the form of thought. And then you create a concrete shape. And then that becomes a wonder. So if each one of us can spend some time understanding the power of thought and empower it and learn the art of focusing the thoughts on ourselves, we can do wonders in our life. That's my experience.
It's interesting that you touched that, because today many people feel that the wonder of the modern world are modern technologies.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I understand now, that they are also the creation of our thought.
Yes, yes.
But then another thing comes that these modern technologies, we have our mobile phones, we have, every sort of planet worth of entertainment, information at our fingertips. And then sometimes I think that these devices, these gadgets, they sort of rob us of our power of thought, because whenever I have free time, I prefer not to think. I prefer just to sit at my desk with my computer or with my mobile phone.
So that's what I feel that, because we are so much depending on the modern gadgets, we are becoming more intelligent and losing the wisdom.
Oh, becoming intelligent
and losing the wisdom. Because in olden days, our grandfathers and forefathers did not have any of these gadgets. They were living a very simple life using the power of thoughts.
Modern people would say that was a very boring life.
No, it was not, because they were wise people. They had many values in their life. They were not dependent on the external things. But today, because we are becoming more intellectuals, so we are depending on the external gadgets for our comfort. See, for example, you are having a mobile phone in your hand, and if they don't have the tower, the mobile doesn't work, you get so angry, so stressed, and sometimes you throw away the phone. You lose your peace of mind.
Yeah.
But instead, in olden days, they used to use what they call telepathy. They will just create a thought in their mind about something they wanted, then the thought will travel and reach to the other person, and they will respond like a telephone, real one. But today we have lost that wisdom. We are becoming too intellectuals with academic education.
So then our thought creates these beautiful devices that sort of make us make our thinking weaker.
But because we should not depend on them. This is something we have to understand. These gadgets are given for us to use when it is necessary, not overuse them.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Then we become dependent on them, and then we lose our own independence. Yes, it is created for our comfort, and that's why we are able to communicate with people who are far away. We are able to see people who are far away, but that's good. But then if I become too dependent on those things, then I will take a lot of sorrow for myself, because I cannot have peace of mind. That's why I was saying that, in this modern age, we have many intellectuals, but a few wise people who can really lead a value-based life, a life based on values. And that is possible when I appreciate the power of thoughts, the thinking power that I have. Somebody other day was asking, what is the difference between animals, and human beings? They also have life. We also have life. So I was telling them the difference is that we can think. We can think and we can choose what we want to think, but whereas animals cannot. They don't have that faculty. No,
Animals cannot think?
No, they will only follow what you teach them, but they can't make a decision. They cannot have a choice to think. And that is why they are dependent on human beings. Of course, today's human being is worse than animals in some ways, but still holds the highest rank in all the creations in the world today.
And I just wonder that, talking of the power of thoughts, to connect it with quantity of thoughts, because does it mean that a person who can create more thoughts is more powerful?
Actually, they are the weakest.
Like with money, if you have a power of money, it means that you have more money. If you have less, you're weaker. Is it the same with thoughts?
No, because a wise person think less and do more. Think less and do more.
Okay.
And then they think before they act. And so their thoughts are saved. They are very economical in spending their thoughts. That is why they are called wise people. Because they store, they accumulate the power of thoughts. And so when any situation comes in the form of a challenge or a problem, they are able to, call on that power of thought to help them to face that situation. So that's why you don't need to think a lot to get something accomplished. But you have to think right type of thoughts with the right speed so that you get what you want.
What is that speed? Proper speed
Okay,
of thoughts?
so today we think 2 thoughts in 1 second. 1 minute, how many thoughts? 120 thoughts. It's a too fast speed. It
That is too
drains our
fast.
energy. It's too fast. So now you can practice something to lessen the speed of thinking by having 1 thought in 2 seconds. So how many thoughts per minute? Only 30. So you can imagine, the same person, if they can lessen the speed of their thinking, the thoughts becomes more powerful. And then whatever they think, they get accomplished. That's why, sometimes we wonder, some people get everything what they think, they get it done. And some people, they cannot.
That's true.
Because they think too much and too fast. And so the thoughts loses its power.
When we have fewer thoughts and
Yes.
when the speed is not that high.
And the quality. If it is a quality thought, if it is less thought,
What do you mean by quality?
it can be positive or negative. That's the quality I mean. So if I have more positive thoughts, quality thoughts, and less thoughts with quality, not quantity, so it has the power. And so whatever I think, I will be able to get accomplished. So that is a sign of success.
You were mentioning the power of science that can be used both for constructive and destructive purposes. We see how people create something for the benefit of humanity, and then after a while those technologies are used for harming humanity, for creating sorrow. So, and we see that actually it happens more and more in today's world, unfortunately. And do you have that belief, or what shall I say, firm faith that it is a sort of reversible process, that we can come back to creating only positive thoughts, the thoughts only for the benefit of humanity?
It will take some time, but it's possible that, when we begin to realize the power of thought.
Whatever we have been talking about so far, that was about our individual effort. Okay, I will create positive thoughts, I will control the speed of my thoughts, or I will choose the direction of my thoughts. But here we talk about larger groups of people, communities, nations. So is it possible to change something on that level?
One person can make a lot of difference if each one of us take the responsibility to change the speed of thoughts and quality of thoughts, and collectively it will happen. That's why I say one person can make a difference.
So it starts with me?
Yeah, it should start with myself. I take the responsibility. That's what I believe, that when self-change happens, so world change will also happen. So collectively something cannot happen by magic, but each one of us need to understand the impact of my thoughts on myself, the impact of thoughts on my relationship, the impact of thought on the world, and as well as the environment. So it has a lot of potential, our thoughts. They are like seed. One seed has so much potential that it can bear thousands of fruits. But if the seed is not full of potential, if it is hollow, it will die out. Our thoughts are always like that. So that is why there is an expression that is used. When you build a building, every brick counts. When you build a character, every thought counts. So that is the power of thought. The power of thought is the seed. It's the foundation of our life. Before you speak, before you act, you get a thought. And that thought actually colors everything that I do. So you can trace, what kind of thought, what quality of thoughts you have from the type of action, the words a person is speaking. Otherwise, it cannot be that way. The thought comes first, and then it is followed by actions and words.
Thank you so much, Sister MEERA, for this very interesting conversation, and I hope that every one of us has enjoyed that very much. And today we got a very special idea that actually we cannot stop the process of thoughts. The thoughts continue, they keep going in our mind, but there is a difference between thoughts and thinking. And the process of thinking is in our hands. If we take care of the quality of thoughts we create and the speed of our thoughts, and if we have enough courage and willpower to take the responsibility, then we can change ourselves, we can make our thoughts come true, and through that we can even change the entire world. And we are going to continue this dialogue, and the topic of our next episode is understanding the mind. Until then, take care and goodbye.
Shanti Om. I'm a peaceful soul. Om Shanti Om. I'm a peaceful soul. ये ध्वनि मंगल ध्वनि है. Om Shanti Om. This